crafters, welcome to part 2 of the making a critter card first part, the cat. And all I'm doing here is showing you how I put the card together. So I've used Dove Craft Couture de Jour paper 8x8 as my backing papers, and I've used the papers for inspiration for the coloured cardstock that I've used. It's lightweight coloured card in the colours that I'm showing you, and the inspiration came from the papers. And so all I've done is cut some strips and use a die to cut out the edges to give this like large multicoloured doily effect that matches in beautifully with the colours in the paper. And I'm just showing here that there's a few options that you could have it on the diamond shape and do it that way, or you could turn it round and do it as a square shape. It's entirely up to you, or you could do it completely different and everything would work out perfectly fine. I've also stamped a greeting that says happy birthday, but this could quite easily be new baby, and matted it onto the same coloured pieces of card as I've just shown you for the doily. I've chosen an 8x8 piece of card as my matting layer, and I'm now going to ink just gently around the sides just to knock off some of the darkness. So it's going to be a very light inking using a very soft brush and a pale pink ink. Okay, it might not show up very well in the video, but on the actual card you can see that it has been inked. So I'm just going to repeat that with the other pieces of the matting layers and the cardstock as I've just shown you in the previous part of this video. So I'm now going to start assembling the layers. So I'm using a mouse adhesive. I'm putting it round the edges. I'm going to put some in the middle, and I'm going to stick it onto the base card. Okay, so you can see this will be the first layer. Checking my card opening and deciding which way I want to run my stripes, and I've just opted for top to bottom and placing that onto the front of an 8x8 300 GSM cardstock card blank. Next I'm going to take my doily layer, and I think I'm going to opt to go with the square version. So I'm just going to place it where I want, where it looks nice, apply some adhesive, and then I will be sticking it to the card. So now I'm going to assemble the card in a similar way using my glue runner to stick down my appropriate pieces. Next I'm going to add some double-sided thick three-dimensional tape to give a bit of a lift to this layer, so it casts a shadow underneath just to add some additional interest. So I'm just going round in the corners, putting some of the tape on there and also a little in the middle for support. Okay, so then I'm going to stick that down, and then I will stick the matting pink dotty layer with my double-sided adhesive to that, and then stick it all down to my base card. You'll notice that I have punched a corner on the edges of this layer, and I've used We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper with the scalloped edge for that corner, as I've just shown you. Okay, so I'm going to remove the sticky backs and stick it down to the card. So that's the base card assembled. So now I'm going to get on with the paper piecing the cat together. So I'm going to get my pieces onto a spare piece of paper just while I start assembly. Just going to get some of the pieces roughly where I think they should be before I start sticking them together, and then I know where I'm going with the cat. So I'm looking at the pieces, thinking about where they're going to go. So I've got my big rectangle, I'm getting my legs ready. You can see my front paws being sort of lined up there. Just a little tip there, when I'm doing my cutting and I've got little pieces like I have for this cat, I do tend to use a little bowl to put them in so I don't lose them on my desk, and it saves me hours of time hunting for tiny pieces or recutting them. So I'm now going to start by layering the grey layer on top of the pink layer for the toenail effect for the cat's front paws. And again, I'm using my glue runner. Okay, so when that's complete, we'll move on. So as you can see now, I'm positioning the front paws onto the cat, onto the body of the cat, and placing the head, trying to get the angles so they look right, as look pleasing to me, and then placing the back paws to see how that's going to look. So I'm doing this to give me an idea before I stick anything down. So now that I know roughly where I want them to be, I'm going to apply some double-sided adhesive and stick them to my largest oval for my feet, or my front paws for my cat. Okay, so that's that complete. So now we've got the front paws in position. Okay, it comes together quite quickly, this card. So then we need to see where our head's going to be. And what I'm going to do is use a small piece of tape just at the top of at the middle of the body of the cat, and then stick down the head so that it's slightly overlapping and also overlapping the feet until I'm happy. Okay. So next I'm going to get the muzzle, place that, and also positioning the eyes. So I'm finding the appropriate pieces. And then I'm going to stick the black part of the eye to the white part for both eyes. And position them behind the muzzle. And work out where I need to stick them down. So that's how we're looking. So I'm going to stick everything down now. So just prior to sticking the nose down to the muzzle and the muzzle to the cat, I'm just popping that up again on with a little bit of padded tape, just to make it stand proud and to give that dimensional interest to the cat's face. So that's going in position now, and he's looking quite cute. Well, I think so. I'm now going to take a fine liner pen and just draw a line down from the heart and a little V at the bottom, and 3 little black dots for where whiskers are appearing to come out of the cat's face or the muzzle. So now I'm adding a little bit of 3D adhesive to the back paws, just to make them stand a little bit proud. I'm sticking them where I think they look appropriate for the cat, and I'll do the same for the other foot or the other paw, again using a small amount of 3D pad double-sided adhesive and sticking that at the opposite side at a similar angle. Okay, so now the paws are in place. Okay, so what I will do now is put the pads on. So again, using my runner adhesive, I'm going to add a little bit of glue and stick the pads on, the bigger ones towards the back of the foot, and the smaller ones, the 3 smaller ones on each foot, towards the front of the foot, as you see. Okay, and you'll notice that I've done the 3D stitching. I'm now moving on to the bow, just prior to doing the little ones, because they're right at the bottom of my dish. So again, I'm using a small piece of double-sided pad adhesive to pad up the keeper, so it gives that bow a bit of dimension. And then I'm going to position it onto the side of the head of the cat. I'm going to place my ears to see how they look. So I'm going to have the black at the bottom and the pink inner ear at the top. So I'm doing the ears now. Again, they've been 4-stitched, so it just gives a nice effect and adds detail to the actual finished product, so it doesn't look as plain. And again for this ear, and we're sticking that down, and I'm going to place them behind the cat's head at a nice jaunty angle that I think works for the cat. Just placing a little bit of adhesive just on the edge, and then pushing it and sticking that down by pressing down. Okay, so now again we're going to do a similar thing with this ear, just a little bit on the right side, tuck it under, and then press it down to the head, like so. So that's more or less the cat's body complete. We're just going to stick the bow on now, next, with a little bit of, again, the padded adhesive, just to make the bow stand a little bit proud. And it does dress up the cat a little bit having this bow on. And it's especially nice for a female. You could use a bandana or something similar if you were doing a boy cat and a different colour scheme, but this is very girly and it's meant to be. Okay, so next I'm going to deal with the little pads, which I've decided to use my Pinflair bookbinding glue because I can get a really tiny little dot. And then I'm going to use my pickup tool, which looks like a white pencil, but it actually has a sticky stuff in it. And you pick them up, and that'll allow me to place them exactly where they need to be. If my paper wasn't sticky to start with, where I've been gluing. So I'm just taking them straight from the dish and sticking them where they need to be. So I'll repeat that now on the other foot. 3 small dots. It's very strong glue, so you don't need much. Again, using my pickup tool and sticking those to the other paw. Now, the one thing that I did forget to put on at this point was the cat's tail, but you'll see in the finished card that I did add it, and all I did was basically place it behind the whole cat so that it was out at an angle to the right hand side as you're looking at the cat now. So I'm working out where I want the cat to go. I'm going to add some sticky tape to the bottom, and I'm also going to use some Zots. So these are the individual 3D Zots, so they're packaged separately and they're available on Amazon, I believe. Not very expensive, and you do get quite a lot in a packet. So I'm just going to use these. These are ultra sticky dots. Once these are stuck down and pressed down, they're going to stay. Then you're not going to be worried that your card's going to fall apart. So I'm sticking them over the ears. I'm sticking them on the back in strategic places to also help hold the pieces together. So you can see I've stuck one there at the edge of the oval and also overhanging onto one of the back paws, if you will. I'm going to do the same at the other side. And I'm going to do the same in the middle of the cat where the head meets the body, and so on. And that will ensure that you're not only going to have that raised effect, because these are 3D Zots, the raised effect for the cat on the card, but it's also going to be helping to stick and hold down those pieces that we've just pieced together. Okay, so that'll just take a couple of seconds. Now we're ready to stick the cat to the card. So I'm going to hover it over, find a place where I like it. I'm going to move it down just a little bit so it doesn't look like it's floating in the air quite as much, and sit it on the sort of as though it's sat right at the bottom of that matting layer. Okay, so I'm just getting in my greeting, seeing where I'm going to fit that, and that's helping me decide the final position of my cat. So again, before I press it down completely, I'm just seeing if I like the look, and then give it a little press around to make sure that that cat is well and truly stuck down. Okay, then I'll add some Zots to my greeting. So now I'm going to position and stick down my greeting towards the top, offset to the left. Okay, it's like I was consciously realising that my tail wasn't down at this point. and then decided that it would be nice to add some bling. So what I'm doing now is randomly dotting down some of my Pinflair bookbinding glue into some of the circles that are in the background of the paper, just randomly. And then I'm going to use very small pink bling gems, and using my pickup tool I'm just going to place those in the centre of where I've put the dot of the adhesive, just to add a little bit of shine and sparkle to the front of the card. So now I'm just going to use a clear Wink of Stella to add some glitter areas to the front of the card, and I've decided to add a few more gems to the greeting in the ends of the flag, just in a row. So again, I've just added the glue from my Pinflair, just little dots, and again using my pickup tool I'm just going to place the gems. And then that will be the card more or less completed. Notice I've still not put the tail on the card. I'm kind of thinking there's something missing, but not quite really working out what it is. But there you see it. There's the card. Well, I hope you've liked this video on how to assemble the 3D cat card. If you have, please like, share and subscribe, and look out for the sneaky peek to what we're making in our next video. Thanks! As you can see, in our next critter card series, we're going to be making a lovely dog. And in the fourth part of our embellishment series, we're going to be making some beautiful frames that have a lovely scalloped edge and a lovely inlaid flower detail, as you can see. So I hope you'll be watching, and watch out for these videos. Thank you.